Well, first off, John, thank you for being, as we discussed earlier, the
me.
inaugural web-only interviewee.
Thank you very much.
For this political blog we're trying to set up.
Awesome.
I want to start by asking you, since the last time we talked,
Right.
you got hit with a couple revelations about your voting record, not
right.
voting in several elections.
That's right.
And also about a DUI
Right.
several years back.
Right.
I'm wondering, I got to confess, I had thought you were sort of a hot candidate to watch. When I
Right.
heard about these revelations, I
Right.
thought, I'm not so sure about his
Right.
chances. Is that a fair assessment, or do you feel like your campaign's going well in the
Yeah.
wake of those?
I mean, we've got an awful lot of momentum, and I attribute the momentum to the fact that we've worked so hard. We've been doing this for almost a year, and we know we're going to be outraised, we know we're going to be outspent, but you can't put a dollar value on hard work. And we go 18 hours a day, and if we had 36 hours in a day, we would. People are yearning, especially in this cycle, to see their potential legislators, to talk to them, to look them in the eye, and that's what I do. We tell our kids that no matter how many times you get knocked down, it doesn't matter. It's how quick you get up, and we got right up from that. We also had a fire. That's the third thing that we had. We had a fire that, under suspicious circumstances, that completely burned our office down to the ground, and within 4 hours, we were up and running again. So I think that is certainly a testament to the great organization that we have around us. And look, we're just working very, very hard. A lot of this, I'm a product of all of my successes and my failures. I'm not perfect. I've always told everyone that I'm not. I haven't planned to run for office. I feel like I was called in some ways because I'm like a lot of people. I'm unhappy with the direction of the country, but I'm not perfect, and I've learned more from my failures than I have from my successes. And like I tell my kids, mistakes aren't mistakes until you fail to learn from them. So sure, a decade ago, I faced a challenge. My brother had been killed in a motorcycle accident, and it was tough for me. It was very challenging for me. And the DUI happened, and it certainly was a wake-up call for me. And since then, it didn't happen. I didn't have a DUI before. I haven't had a DUI since, and I never will. I learned an awful lot from it. And from the last 10 years, my wife and I out in leafy Carlisle, as people like to laughingly call it, have established a wonderful home for my 2 young children. My son is 11 and my daughter is 8. And there's a lot of love in the house, and we have an awful lot of fun. And I certainly learned a lot from it. So are some people not going to be able to vote for me because of it? I'm sure there will, and I'm sorry for that. And I hope when I win this race that ultimately they'll see through my actions and not my words, that I can be a legislator that they'll be proud to call congressman.
Just to wrap up this piece, and I want
sure.
to move on to a few other questions.
Sure.
In terms of the not voting, is there
Right.
anything I've read online, some of the explanations that you gave about how you're sort of disenchanted with the political process, but can you maybe just in brief explain why it was that you fell away?
I'll be happy. To just from the start, we have been straight about this from the very beginning. This has been on our website from the very beginning.
So it wasn't dug out by the, I'm trying to remember the name of the blog.
This has been on our website. No, this has been on the website from the very beginning. It's something that I talked about. It's something that I went to Republican town committees, and I was very upfront with them about it. It's not like I've never been involved in the political process. I come from a family where we've been spoon-fed politics. My grandfather was John Mahan, an old Irishman from Hartford, Connecticut, who was the longest-serving city treasurer and the longest-elected city official in the history of the city. My brother makes his career in politics now. He worked for John McCain. We had talked about this.
Yeah, we discussed that at the convention.
I was very involved. I was up here in '94 as a signature captain for Mitt Romney when he was running against Kennedy. So I've always been very involved, not only voting but volunteering. And then after 2000, I got very disillusioned. And was it the right thing to do? Of course not. Was it something I wish I could change? Of course I could. And would I ever encourage anyone to do the same? Absolutely not. What I should have done is what I'm doing now and jumped in feet first. And that's what I've done. So again, are there going to be people who aren't going to be able to get past that? I'm sure there are. But again, I hope that once we win this election that people will see through my actions, through my engagement, through my responsiveness, through my listening, which is what I do an awful lot of listening, because you can't represent if you don't listen. I think that I hope people will be able to be proud to call me their congressman.
What kind of relationship do you have right now with Sam Mees, your old primary rival? And are you getting any help from Sam Mees?
He's been very supportive. I was blessed to run against 3 very, very honorable men who made me a better candidate. I hope they could say the same about me. I hope I made them better candidates as well. And they've been very helpful. We had a unity breakfast. They've all come out and supported me. And it's been fantastic. Look, we have to, as Republicans, there's only 12% of us. It's like having a fight in a small family. You can't do that. We had a very spirited debate in this primary. It was a good debate, and I'm humbled that I won. But we've had a lot of support from all three gentlemen who we were in the primary against.
As you go around your district campaigning and talking to voters and listening to voters, are there any critiques that they make or concerns they raise that have surprised you? I mean, that we kind of know the standard issue interpretation now. Voters are angry, they're disenchanted with Washington, but anything that takes you back?
Let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you something because, this is a process that makes people cynical. I think you'd agree with that, right? But for a process that's made so many people cynical, the process as a candidate has warmed my heart. People are good. People are kind. People want to be listened to. And for every bad experience I've had 10 good ones. So it's been a wonderful process. And, you say as you get to, when you come to the end of your, when you get older, you can count the number of friends you have on one hand. Well, if that's the case, for me, I'm going to need about 20 hands. And if your life is richer as the result of people who are in it, I'm a millionaire several times over. It's been a wonderful, wonderful process. It's been a great learning experience for my children as well. We can tell our kids to be good and kind and nice, but the best way to show them, again, I'm a big actions speak louder than words person. You're with your spouse and with them, you're kind, you're nice, you always tell the truth. But very rarely do you get the opportunity to tell them the biggest life lesson, a truly American lesson, that no matter what you want to do, pursue it. Work hard, get some people to help you. And, you have a good chance to succeed. And I think this is an opportunity to show them that I believe very strongly the direction of the country is going in the wrong way. I believe we're not being listened to right now. I think people are frustrated about the things you mentioned, the buyouts, the takeovers, the runaway spending, the arrogance that comes out of Washington, D.C., that somehow the leadership knows better than we do what's good for us. And people just want to be listened to. And that's what I'm doing. Representative Tsongas votes 98% of the time with the leadership in Washington, D.C. I think that's bad. I don't agree with my wife that often. So I think it's bad for the district. I think it disenfranchises us and leaves us without a voice. And my goal is to go out and listen. And you can't represent unless you listen.
A lot of people were surprised, right or wrong, at some of the votes that Scott Brown took where he sided with Democrats after being elected to the Senate. I'm wondering if there are any areas in particular where you could anticipate yourself, if you were to win election, working across the aisle, voting with Democrats, whether they're in the majority or minority on a particular issue, and maybe raising some eyebrows back here.
Scott Brown I think Scott Brown's done a very good job where he's been. He's never promised to vote with the Republican Party on every single issue. He said he was going to vote against health care, and that's what he did. I'm a very practical guy. I would be remiss and derelict in my duty as a congressman if I didn't vote on an issue with someone who had a D next to their name. I am willing to work with anyone who is like-minded. I think there are plenty of people on the other side of the aisle that are worried about the increasing tax burden on not only businesses but also individuals. They're worried about the increased regulation that's coming down the pipe on businesses. I'm not a laissez-faire capitalist. I believe there needs to be regulation. We agree on both sides of the aisle that regulation does do one thing. It increases the cost of doing business. When you increase the cost of doing business, that isn't borne on the backs of the businesses on their own. It's passed down to the working men and women of the district.
Is that kind of risky for you in this year in particular to say I'm not a laissez-faire capitalist? I mean, it seems like so many of your fellow compatriots are hoping to be part of this Republican tidal wave. I
don't know anyone really who is a laissez-faire capitalist anymore. I don't think anyone's been a laissez-faire. But again, look, I'm focusing on my race. I'm not a laissez-faire capitalist. I do believe that there does need to be some regulation. I just believe that, and I think I'm in the majority on this, that regulation does increase the cost of doing business. So you need to be smart about your regulation. I think there should be regulation against the use of derivatives. I mean, and that would have been a one-page bill. Derivatives are used for protection, not for speculation. When it moves from protection to speculation, that's how we got ourselves in all this trouble. And I'll be honest with you, as far as I'm concerned, if you don't have an asset that you're using a derivative to protect yourself with, you shouldn't be allowed to hold a derivative. That's a one-page piece of legislation, not 2,300 pages. That Senator Dodd, mind you, when asked, how is this all going to work, he said, well, we aren't really going to know until it's implemented. I don't know about you. That's a heck of a proposition to get yourself involved in.
Yeah, that's true. Remind me, and I should know this, I apologize for not knowing it off the top of my head, but pardon me, are you on the NRCC's radar in that?
I am.
That
I'm on the, yes, I am. I was the first congressional candidate.
That's right. Actually, I think
we
the
just
last
met
time we
right
chatted,
after,
you had
right?
just got,
We were the first ones to get put on the radar on the Young Guns. So we were very proud of that because...
so you're currently on the radar?
I am on the radar, right. I am on the radar with the Young Guns.
Any chance that you'll be making the climb up?
If I raise the money, I will. If I raise the money, I will. It's a two-way street. If you raise, you have to help yourself before you get help, and we anticipate raising the money that we need in order to win this race.
I think
does this mean with the lights going
probably
down?
a wrap. Yeah, I don't know.
You're all going to say, but we're just going to do a little bit of
Okay.
All right, let me ask you one more. Anything
please.
Anything we didn't touch on?
I don't
Anything
know.
that you want
We
to?
covered a lot. But,
We did cover a lot, yeah.
But you can ask me anything you want. I'm an open book. You
Well,
know?
let me throw one more out there.
Yeah.
You talked about how you think derivatives should be regulated,
Right.
how there's some room for regulation of the
Right.
market. For any Democrats out there who might be long shots in terms of getting their support, but
Yeah.
any other areas where you might have either a general or a specific agreement with the Obama administration?
Look,
Points of surprise.
my big theme that I have is I listen to people. I don't come from inside politics. I don't have preconceived ideas about who Democrats are. I am a husband, I'm a father, and I'm a small businessman. I just want to make sure I leave this country a better place for my kids than I found it, with more opportunity than I had myself. And that is something, no matter what side of the political spectrum you're on, we can all agree on. We want this country to be a better place for our kids and grandkids. If you believe in those things, if you want someone who's going to listen to you, if you want someone who's going to work day in and day out for the people of the 5th District, whether you vote for me, don't vote for me, or don't vote, then come with me, and I'm going to bring our voice back down to Washington, D.C., and I'll make sure that it's heard.
Let me run one last thing by, and that's a great note to end on.
Great.
So I feel bad
No,
asking
that's
this
okay.
last one, but there's been talk about whether or not there's sort of internal tension brewing in the GOP
Right.
over who should lead the party if there's a
Right.
Republican takeover.
Right.
Oh, that's
That's
great.
all right. No, no.
Would you expect to support John Boehner if for Speaker if the GOP retakes the House, or would you look at other
we're
options?
getting way ahead of ourselves.
Yes.
I mean, it's and
That's
that's the
true.
thing. And I hate to.
This is true.
I hate to. It's kind of like when a pitcher is pitching a no-hitter. You don't tell him it's a no-hitter. I'd prefer to focus on the next 30 days. I'm really honestly just focusing on. I look about a day out every day. I get up, I get a schedule of what I'm going to do. I'm out meeting the people. I'm out listening to the people. That's what I'm going to continue to do. I think if I am lucky enough to win this race, the vote that I will take first will be to replace Nancy Pelosi as Speaker. But again, I'm way ahead of ourselves. I don't want to.
Yep, understood.
Hope you can appreciate that. I appreciate your
Okay,
questions.
definitely.
Thank you.
John, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.